wondered if this would be the final hour of glory for the Soviets' remarkable gymnastics program. Instead, it proved to be a historic moment for Kim Zmeskal and the U.S. women's team. For that story, let's join our commentators in Indianapolis, Gary Bender, Bart Connor, and Kathy Johnson.
This is the skyline of Indianapolis, a city that prides itself as the amateur sports capital of the world. In the past, it's been the site of the Olympic swimming trials, as well as the '87 Pan Am Games and the NCAA's Final Four. And today, Indianapolis is the home of the 1991 World Gymnastics Championships. A crowd of over 15,000 is on hand at the Hoosier Dome for today's women's individual all-around competition. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Bender. Welcome to our coverage of the women's all-around finals. Today, you're going to see 3 U.S. women who faced the United States to their first team medal in World Championships. They captured the silver. Betty Okino, along with Shannon Miller and Kim Zmeskal, will go against the top 33 in the world as they vie for the gold in 4 events. Working with me, 2-time Olympic gold medalist Bart Connor. And Bart, that was a great moment for the United States, but now can they win their first medal ever in the all-around?
Well, Gary, I really feel we're in for a historic moment for U.S. women's gymnastics. The U.S. team has done so well all week long. Betty Okino looks great, so does Shannon Miller. But I believe the best hope for the U.S. team is with Kim Zmeskal. She's great in the optional exercises. That's what they're competing today. It's going to be very exciting.
When you talk about gymnastics, you have to talk about the Soviets. Svetlana Boginskaya, she's the defending all-around champion.
And she is so wonderful. She's the most experienced gymnast here. She's the goddess of the sport right now, but she's in an interesting situation. She's up against the little tricksters, these young ladies who do the most unbelievable routines you've ever seen. It's going to come down to who sticks the landings. The difference between winning a medal and no medal at all will be just thousandths of a point.
Okay, another member of our broadcast team is Kathy Johnson, 2-time Olympic medalist, the captain of the '84 Olympic team. We're going to go to the podium now and let her explain what we should look for as we go into the women's all-around.
Thanks, Gary. The sport of gymnastics, though very easy to appreciate, can be very difficult to evaluate, particularly if you're not an expert. I'm sure many of you ask, what exactly do the judges look for? Well, I'll be honest with you, it is complicated, but we want to try to break it down a little to help you become a more knowledgeable spectator. Let's take form and amplitude first. Good form consists of really straight legs, perfectly pointed toes, and good body alignment. Amplitude is a word we often use in gymnastics. Whenever you see a gymnast fly way above the bar, soar through the air over the vault, and tumble higher than seems humanly possible, that's amplitude. Learning to determine the level of difficulty of a routine can be the toughest for the untrained eye. But let's give it a try.
Elements of difficulty are rated from A to D, A's and B's being the least difficult like these skills, and D the most difficult like these release moves. But watch the second one. It had never been done before in women's gymnastics until Kim Guang-soo. That's super difficulty. You'll see this round-off vault a lot today, but most of them will have a single twist, which is still very difficult, but this one has a double twist. You'd never believe they're worth the same, but they are, and we'll discuss that later.
So, now you have 3 elements used to evaluate routines: form, amplitude, and difficulty. See if you can recognize them in the upcoming performances.
Thank you, Kathy. The women compete in 4 events, 4 different apparatus: the vault, uneven bars, beam, and floor exercise. Earlier in the week in the women's team competition, the U.S. women won the silver medal for their best finish ever in the World Championships. After clinching the silver, 15-year-old Kim Zmeskal of Houston, Texas, was ready for her second vault. The crowd in the Hoosier Dome exploded. Bella Caroli, along with Marta Caroli, were excited as they anticipated what would be an outstanding score. A good score, I guess. A perfect 10 for Kim Zmeskal as the U.S. women win the silver in the women's team competition. And now we move to the all-around competition. Kim earlier on the first vault with a 9.925. They will take the best of 2 vaults. And here she goes on the second vault.
And she really needs to improve on that score. Great vault. Even a little bit better, I feel, than in the team competition. She had much more amplitude. Remember, we talked about that word. Height, distance from the horse. But But in the team competition, that was the last event for the Americans. So in the spirit of the moment, they came up with a 10. I really feel it'll be difficult to get a 10 right now. This is her first event right off the bat.
And her score of 9.962. This is Betty Okino, another member of the youngest U.S. team to ever compete in the World Championships. A 16-year-old from Elmhurst, Illinois. She's going on the uneven bars.
And I would have to say, this is one of her weakest events, and only because of one skill. The dismount is far too elementary for this level of competition. But the rest of the routine is gorgeous. There's a big release move coming up right here. Front Jaeger, way up in the air. And she'll set up for her second release move, a reverse hex. Now here comes that dismount sequence. It's only a single flip with a half twist. And as I said, far too easy for elite level competition.
It's a very good point, Kathy. She has good height and amplitude on her release moves, particularly on this reverse hex. Great form. But the most controversial part of the routine is the dismount. It's a simple front with a half twist. Normally would be a major deduction, but the Americans politicked to get the value of this move raised, and I'll be very interested to see what score she gets.
Unfortunately, the scoring system does not always benefit the gymnast with the most difficult routine.
Betty with a 9.90.
Well, it looks like the politicking worked.
We will continue our coverage of the first rotation. When we come back, we'll take our first look at the Soviet women.
Ever wonder why your face hurts after you shave?
Usually, this is an event very difficult to start on. Hard to control the adrenaline, but she is very impressive on this event, particularly when she's under pressure. This is her most difficult pass. It's 2 layouts in a row. Notice how she lands slightly forward in that lunge position. It's a trademark of hers.
No doubt you can hear the music in the background on the floor exercises being performed at this very time. Does that really distract you while you're on the beam?
Not really, Gary. You would not believe the amount of concentration necessary to compete on the balance beam. These gymnasts at this level can truly block everything out. Here comes her gainer layout step out. It's done off of one leg. Slight balance check there. That will be a very slight deduction. When I say slight deduction, I mean very slight. Look at the scores. They're all in the 9-9s. But the important numbers to look at are those thousandths of a point. Here's her dismount, a round off double back. Oh, and a slight little step there. Again, another slight deduction. She had plenty of difficulty in that routine, though not the most difficult in the competition.
Here's something interesting, Kathy. Notice she points her toes when she runs. Talk about the maturity and the incredible polish that this woman has.
We talked about it earlier, form, and it's something the judges really look for, and it's her trademark.
And her score, a 9.912. So those slight errors you were talking about has given Zemeskel the early lead in the first rotation. While Boganskaya was on the beam, Romanian Cristina Bontas performed on the floor exercise.
And as you can hear, this routine was certainly designed to appeal to the American audience. Watch this tumbling pass. Double layout. That is amplitude. Way up in the air. For all the all-around contenders, she is by far the superior tumbler. This is a nice tumbling run coming up. Watch the full twist right here in the whip back, all the way through to double back. To say this music is completely incongruous to the choreography. It's a very energetic routine, but the music is more like background music and a little distracting, actually.
It's funny, it's obviously designed to get the American crowd into it, but they don't seem to be interested at all. Maybe it's because Boganskaya is on the beam.
gets that. Full twisting double back. And perfect landing throughout the routine. Excellent technique.
Bone toss of Romania, the floor exercise.
This is that second tumbling run. As you mentioned, Kathy, she does a whip back with a full twist, which is right there. But what's most impressive is watch how this double back just seems to hang in the air.
A score of 9-9-3-7. This is Tatiana Lysenko of the Soviet Union in only her third major competition on the uneven bars.
She has a nice routine here. Watch this mount sequence. Very unusual. Most of the gymnasts here are doing what we call stock routines, all the same skills, but not Lysenko. Nice height on that Jaeger front somersault. Now she'll set up for her dismount and watch this. It is a beauty. Interesting note, it's Betty Okino's dismount, except with a double front half twist. Oh, and what a landing. That is such a difficult dismount, and she does it with such ease.
I don't think we can emphasize enough the polish of the Soviet team. She's going to do the Jaeger front flip here, straddled front. Look at the perfect form, and this is amazing when you're flying through the air, worried about regrasping the bar to keep that kind of form.
A 9-9-3-7. And so the standings after the first rotation, Zemeskel's in first. Bone toss and Lysenko tied for second. Boganskaya in fourth, 5/100ths of a point behind Zemeskel. And Betty Okino is in sixth.
Only a few will ever see the inside of an Olympic stadium or know how it feels to be the best in the world.
You would never know it on this mount. It's a press to handstand, showing off her strength and flexibility. Everyone is always impressed by these long lines. Her legs are so long. She has very similar skills as Boganskaya. Here's the first one, 2 layout step outs in a row. And here comes something a little different, and she has perfected it. A double turn, very difficult on the balance beam. She's actually capable of a triple turn, which is unheard of. Another sprint move. I'm very impressed with how well the American gymnasts have been prepared for this competition. Here comes her dismount. 2 back handsprings to a double back. Oh, and a big step on the landing. That is exactly what you can't do in this competition to finish in the top 3. That is a 1/10 of a point deduction, or it should be.
You can see it on Betty Okino's face, and certainly Marta Caroli there, the beam coach of the Caroli program, realized that you have to stick the landings and you have to show impeccable form. This sequence here of the 2 layouts after the back handspring, although it was very clean, you can see there are some form breaks, slight form breaks. This is a terrific shot to see how springy that balance beam is. As you mentioned, Kathy, there is a spring right there. Boom. Great dismount. The step will cost her, though.
Oh, I'm surprised at that score. It should have been a 1/10 of a point deduction. And even though it doesn't seem like that big of an overscore in a competition this close, that will make a difference.
Christina Bontas, the new star of the Romanian team, ready now to go on her second vault. Earlier, she had a lot of trouble on her first vault. This gave her a 9-3-2-5. And so, Kathy, that means she'll have to count the second vault.
This is a highly stressful situation, to say the least. She was tied for second after the first rotation, and she needs a big score here. Much better vault. Slight little step backwards. And really, I think the vault needed to be a little more dynamic and explosive to get into the high 9-9.
She looks relieved, though.
I was
It's going to be a lot
gonna say.
better than that 9-3-2-5.
While we wait for Bontas's score, let's visit with Svetlana Boganskaya from the Soviet Union. Far removed from Boganskaya's hometown of Minsk, in the Republic of Belorussia, is Lake Krugloye, an hour outside of Moscow, but at the heart of the Soviet gymnastics program. It is the site of the Soviet National Training Center, where men and women from all the Soviet republics have traditionally prepared for major competitions. While Boginskaya is separated from her parents, her older brother Igor, and the family tortoise Masha, the dormitory at Lake Krugloya has become a home away from home. Isolated for the time being from the radical changes underway in her country, ones that may prove to be the only thing that can stop the Soviet gymnastics teams. Boginskaya getting ready now for the floor exercise. Christina Bontas's score on the vault was a 9.887.
This is an opportunity for her to move ahead of Bontas. This is where she reigns. So easy to watch this routine. Watch how she almost dances her tumbling run. Very elegant. Compared to Bontas, she doesn't have nearly the difficulty in her tumbling, but her choreography works with the music, not in spite of. There's an area where Boginskaya has really improved, added some difficulty in this middle tumbling run. Full and a half twist, through to a double back. Pike double back. Look at the straight leg, pointed toes. Beautifully done. Hard to find deductions in that routine.
And as we mentioned, she really has upgraded her difficulty to keep up with the little hot shots like Bontas. In this pass, she's going to do a 1.5 twist right here. Now, where she used to do a backflip with a double twist, she's added a double backflip instead. Well done.
A 9.950. When we come back, a first look at Shannon Miller of the U.S. and her leader, Kim Zmeskal.
Coming up, the race from Anchorage to Nome that Alaskans call the last great race.
Our coverage continues in the women's all-around. This is Shannon Miller, the 14-year-old from Edmond, Oklahoma, the floor exercise.
And this gymnast takes competitive risks, meaning she throws everything she's capable of. Like this first tumbling pass, it'll be a whip back through to a full twisting double back. Watch now. Here's the whip back, full twisting double back. What I really like about this gymnast is though she's not as physically powerful as a Kim Zmeskal, she comes up with even more difficult tumbling passes.
Perhaps that has something to do with her coach, Steve Nuno. He really is very aggressive. Bella Caroli, although his gymnasts are very consistent, they take very few risks.
Here's another full twisting double back. Now you can see she doesn't get quite as high in the air as some of the other gymnasts, but nonetheless she can perform the skill. It's a sign of good, hard training. Be a pike double back. All the landings have been pretty solid in this routine. Here's another good landing right here. Very well done.
Shannon Miller.
When you watch this competition and you try to compare these top gymnasts, it shows you why judging gymnastics is so difficult. Sometimes it's like comparing apples and oranges.
And it doesn't appear at just 4 feet 6 inches high and 69 pounds that Shannon Miller would have the power to complete this move. The reason she can make it is she has great technique.
And here's her score. Shannon Miller with a 9.862. And the crowd not happy with that score.
But that was an appropriate score. The landings were not perfect, and some of the dance elements were not quite as clean.
While Miller was performing on the floor exercise, Tatiana Lysenko of the Soviet Union was getting ready to go on the beam. She is the all-around World Cup champion, tied for second after the first rotation.
And prepare yourself for this mount. It is extremely difficult. She'll perform 3 layout step-outs right in a row. The first one up to the beam, followed by 2 more. Look at that. It's a tuck back, and she kicks out right there and swings down. She is in a great position to try and lock herself in the top 3, particularly with Bontas's 9.887. Really opened up a slight margin there for her.
Again, this is going on while Shannon Miller was performing on the floor exercise. You can hear the music in the background.
She doesn't quite have the perfect form that we see on a Boginskaya. Legs aren't completely locked out. Toes aren't extremely pointed. Beautiful leap, though, showing full extension. Here comes her dismount. The same as Boginskaya's, a double back. Oh, no. Oh, what a fluke. Her right foot missed the beam on the round-off takeoff. This will drop her well out of the top 3.
Now let's take a look at the difference between hitting it just right and tragedy. Her foot slips off the end of the beam by less than an inch. This is a tough crash. Wow, she appears to be okay.
Her score, a 9.412. And Kim Zemesco getting ready now for the uneven bars with Bella Carolla, her coach. They train together in Houston, Texas.
I don't know. I think all of us have grown up a bit faster than most kids our age because of what we have to go through. But, you know, inside we're still little kids, I guess. And that looks for lunch. I hope it's good. Luckily, all of us get along really well, and we're all going through the same thing, so we help each other.
Kim and her teammates spent the summer in intense training at Bella Carolla's ranch outside of Houston. It was 3 months away from friends and family, but Kim's one of the lucky ones.
I don't know how like the other girls do it, you know, staying away from their parents. But, you know, because my parents have helped me a whole lot in my gymnastics, you know, just being there for me.
Kim's parents are in the stands as she's ready to go now on the uneven bars.
This is Kim's most improved event. Anybody who's watched her over the last couple of years has seen her release moves get higher and higher above the bar. Here comes her first one. The Ginger, fly away with a half twist. And here comes her second release move, reverse hex. Dismounts a pike double back. Very nice hike. Good amplitude on the dismount. And look how she fought for that landing. Really stuck it and then stepped back immediately to salute the judge.
She really has improved a great deal on uneven bars. Watch the height on this release move. She's way up above the bar. But there is a slight form break there.
So this was pretty much a standard routine. It had all the requirements necessary. And like you said, Bart, all I saw were a few small form deductions.
Really nice style here. Layout into the pike double back. And watch her fight that landing.
And here comes Kim's score, a 9.937. And Kim's parents, Clarice and David, in the stands. And Kim Zemesco is in first place after 2 rotations. Boginskaya now has moved to second from fourth. Bontas in third. Okino, the United States, in fourth. And Shannon Miller, seventh. We'll be back as Kim Zemesco tries to become the first American to win the all-around gold medal at the World Gymnastics Championships.
to need a handicap, all next Saturday on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
Welcome back to the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, our coverage of the 1991 World Gymnastics Championships. And today, the women's individual all-around competition. Kathy, we're halfway through the competition, and Kim Zameskel's in first place.
Well, Gary, I think we've stressed enough the importance of sticking landings here, and Kim is doing just that. Boganskaya is moving to a very high-scoring event for her, and Betty Okino is going to the floor exercise, where in terms of difficulty, she's a little weak, so it might be hard for her to move up.
Betty Okino with her coach Bella Caroli. Let's go back and see how Betty began her gymnastics career. When she was very young, Betty Okino loved to dance, and she was good. With her big brother Eddie as her partner, Betty performed all over local parades and school homecomings, wearing bright costumes and full makeup. But Betty had another love, gymnastics, and when time came to choose between the gym and the stage, she didn't hesitate.
My dream ever since I started in gymnastics was to sort of follow in Mary Lou's footsteps and Nadia's footsteps and win the Olympics like they did.
2 years ago, her love brought her to Houston to train with Bella Caroli. She's become good friends with the other girls there, but she is closest to her grandmother, who moved to Houston last year to take care of her. During the summer, 69-year-old Anna Matei cooked the meals at the ranch.
She means a lot to me because if it wasn't for her, I don't know if I would have made it through this past year because I've had a lot of injuries and she helped me get through those too. And also the workouts and everything has gotten harder since the 92 Olympics are closer and closer and the World Championships are just around the corner. So it's gotten tougher, and I needed somebody here with me.
At home in Elmhurst, Illinois, her absence is felt by Eddie, now 18, 8-year-old Gloria, and of course her parents, especially her mother, a Romanian, who moved here with her Ugandan husband when Betty was only 1. They talk on the phone sometimes 3 times a day.
Sometimes I just like to hear each other's breath. I don't feel a material sacrifice as big as you feel the emotional. The feeling that you're away from your child, it's not easy to handle.
Still, for now at least, the separation goes on so that Betty can continue to follow her dream.
I want to be thought of as different. I want to be thought of as my own person and different. I want to stand out in a good way when they think about me.
Betty Okino, now the floor exercise.
And as I mentioned earlier, in terms of difficulty, this is probably her weakest event. She opens with a pike double back, which many of the gymnasts are ending their routine with. Fortunately, it was done with very nice form. See how expressive she is with her face during the dance. Nice triple turn. Through to a double twist. Very nice music selection, showing change of pace. Passes a double back in tuck position. Nice landing. Betty is competing extremely well, though she lacks some of the difficulty necessary to be in the top 3.
Kathy, I think Betty and her coach Bella Caroli realize that if she hopes to be a contender at the Olympics in Barcelona, that she's going to need to add more difficulty, particularly in her tumbling runs. But as you mentioned, she's having a terrific competition, performing to her maximum in every event. On this tumbling run, for instance, she's going to do a whip back through to a backflip with a double twist. To upgrade the difficulty, she would need to add a double backflip instead of the double twist, as you see there.
Betty Aquino, her score a 9.912. When we come back, it'll be Bogunskaya on the vault, Zmeskal on the balance beam.
What if you left? Mary Lou. Gymnastics' greatest stars in their greatest moments. Kathy Rigby, Kurt Thomas, Mark Connor. Maybe a gold medal. Now 3 decades of gymnastics history can be yours on home video. To order, call 1-800-4ABC-VCR. Only $24.98 plus $3 shipping.
Bogunskaya now getting ready for her second vault, waiting the score of the first. It's a 9.950.
Which is very important for her. She's the Olympic champion on this event, so obviously very capable of big things here. But building on a 9.95, if she just sticks another one, it could score higher. Beautiful vault. Very few times can you describe a vault as elegant, but with Bogunskaya, you certainly can. Beautiful extension. The toe point is always perfect.
Seems like when you stop or you see in slow motion any gymnast, you find form breaks, but never do you find a form break throughout that vault on her.
And this is better than her first vault, a 9.962. U.S. coach Bella Caroli. Kathy asked Kim Zmeskal if it's important to have Bella on the floor while she's performing.
It's really important for me to have Bella there. Right before I go, I look at him, just one last time, and that usually just gives me that extra confidence that I can do it.
Can you understand what he said?
Yeah.
What does he say? Key words to you.
Just go strong and, do what we've been practicing, and mostly stay down on the landing, because that's where the last, major impression is.
Kim now needs a 9.937, Kathy, to stay in first place.
It's a big score to get here, but this is a good event for Kim, but always a precarious event for anyone, as was shown by Lysenko. Watch this position right here. It's sort of become a trademark pose of Kim's. A reverse plunge with the one leg bent. Has 2 key areas in this routine to concentrate on, this being the first. Here's her 2 layout step out. Bogunskaya also performed this, as well as Betty Aquino. It was very nicely done. I'll tell you what's most impressive about this gymnast. She has handled so far an incredible amount of pressure. She has led the competition from the start, and only by a very slight margin, and is leading over the defending world champion. There's a gainer layout. We've seen one of these earlier off that one leg. Nice little balance break there. Be interesting to see what the judges do with it, because she didn't really lose her balance, but she circled that arm to save it. Here's the second critical part, the dismount and the landing. Double back. Whoa! She has been unbelievable with these landings throughout the competition. She knows it's an important factor in trying to win a world championship.
Listen to the crowd.
Without getting into comparisons of styles of Bogunskaya and Zmeskal and which one is better, Bogunskaya had the small balance check and the step on the landing.
Look at the power and the aggressiveness on this double back. She finishes it easily.
And as you can see, she really followed hers and Bella's plan to stick and stay low on that landing, because she knows it's the last impression the judges get.
Now she needs a 9.937 to stay in first, and she bests that. Look at this, a 9.962. And Zmeskal, after 3 rotations, has the lead. The floor exercise will be next for her, and that's her best event. Zmeskal in first. Boganskaya second, Bontas in third, Okino fourth, Miller seventh. We'll be back for the final rotation. Can Kim hang on for the gold medal?
You'd think a country that could put a guy on the moon in a sushi bar on every corner could make a great non-alcoholic brew.
All around.
She couldn't have hoped for a better scenario. She's moving into the floor exercise, leading at the World Championships. It's her best event and her favorite event, something she can have a little bit of fun with as well. Boganskaya goes to the uneven bars, which is her weakest event, and I'm not even sure her impeccable form could surpass Kim right now.
So here is Boganskaya on the uneven bars.
And Gary, Boganskaya usually performs 2 release moves in this routine, but in the warm-up she only warmed up 1, so I believe she's opted to leave 1 out.
Kathy, is that why she needs a high 9-9 to take over first place?
Here's that release move, a reverse hex. If I were she competing in the United States with the scores this close, I wouldn't have left it out. But I think she believes it's enough. Look at the form. Perfect legs, toe point. Here's a pike double dismount, and her best landing of the competition. Now she knows that it's just in the judge's hands.
A high 9-9 is what she needs to take over first place from Kim Zmeskal.
She's so well known for her elegance on the balance beam and the floor exercise, and it's hard to believe that you could actually describe her swing on the uneven bars as elegant. But she really has smooth rhythm, beautiful lines, and look at the style on this toe on, toe off to handstand. And no one lands better than this.
Remember now, she needs a high 9-9, and she gets a 9-9-1-2. And listen to the reaction of the crowd.
I am sure they felt the score should have been a little higher because of the perfection of the movement, but they don't realize she took a major risk taking out that element. She needed it for the level of difficulty.
And it leaves the door open for Kim Zmeskal, a chance to win the gold as she'll come up on her best, the floor exercise. While all that was going on, Bontas was performing on the balance beam. Now she needs a 10 to pull into a tie with Boganskaya.
She certainly has the level of difficulty on this event. To come up with close to a 10 would be very difficult. As you can see, she doesn't quite have the extension on the leaps to say a Boganskaya. For her dismount. A lot of concentration there. Round up back handspring, double back. Good landing. She knows she's done a very fine routine.
But Kathy, is it a 10?
No, Gary, I don't think so, but it will be very close because of her high degree of difficulty. She will be rewarded for that.
Christina grew up near Nadia Comaneci's hometown. As right now, Shannon Miller is getting ready to go on the uneven bars, and Kathy talked to this Edmond, Oklahoma native who's very quiet, along with her coach, Steve Nuno.
Have you dreamed of this moment before?
Yeah.
Is this about how you dreamed it?
No. It's a lot different. More exciting.
I believe that she's a modest girl, but she really has her emotions she likes to show through her gymnastics. And so she doesn't really have a lot to say, but she has a lot to do and a lot of things to show people that she can do.
Here she is, ready now for the uneven bars. Bontas' score, by the way, was 9-9-7-5, so she did not get the 10.
This is a great event for Shannon. This is a nice routine made even better with a huge dismount. Beautiful high ginger. Backflip with a half twist. Now here's her second release move. It's a reverse hex. Good height. Now watch this dismount. Full twisting double back. A lot of trick, and look at the landing. Very nice work. Best routine I've ever seen her do.
It's hard to believe that this young lady can be so almost painfully shy and yet so assertive when she's on the equipment. Let's take a look at the complexity of this release sequence. She does a handstand pirouette. From this giant swing, she's going to do a full pirouette on top. Notice the hand changes. And she sets up a ginger, which is a backflip with a half twist. And watch how high she is. Perfect form. And on the dismount, as you mentioned, Kathy, there is a lot of trick going on here. This is a double back with a full twist. And look how easily she does it.
Shannon Miller with a score of 9,950.
And I want to point out the difference between Shannon's routine and her higher score and Bogan Sky's. Shannon had an extra release move and a more difficult dismount.
And the tension is starting to build. Can Kim Zmeskal become the first American ever to win the gold in the all-around? We'll be back with her floor exercise in just a moment.
All right, how many this time?
Leaves the arena.
Pay close attention to all of her landings, and most important, watch that second tumbling pass. It's exciting.
Let's just sit back and watch. It's not easy being a parent. Let's go back now. Watch the tension through the eyes of Clarice Zmeskal.
Come on, stick this one. Don't step out of bounds, baby. Stick it. Don't. Oh. Stick it, baby. Stick it. Stick it. Stick it. Stick it. All right!
How exciting. Bart, I really think the most important part of that routine was that middle tumbling run. It was so exciting. It added something that she needed to get a big score.
Plus the fact that she's such an entertainer. She really sells her routine.
A 9,987. Gold for the Americans and Kim Zmeskal. When we come back, will talk to Kim, and Betty Okino will go for the bronze. Betty Okino has a chance to finish third. Her first vault, a 9.887. She needs now a 9.987 in her second vault to tie for the bronze.
Gary, she just might be able to do it at the 91 American Cup. She scored a 10 to win the all-around. She's an impressive vaulter. Nicely done. Bella likes it.
And while we await the score on the Keno, Kathy Johnson with the gold medalist, Kim Zamesko.
Kim, I know you wanted a medal, and you thought you could win a medal. In your wildest dreams, did you ever believe it would be gold?
Yeah, in my dreams, but realistically, I was thinking, you know, going for a silver or bronze. I just can't believe it. I don't know if I want to cry or if I want to laugh or I don't know.
I said throughout the entire show that it was going to come down to who stuck all the landings. Did you think that going in?
Yeah, that's really important. I've watched a lot of the competitions on television, and that's usually what it came down to.
Okino score a 9.937. She finishes fourth. Zamesko with the gold. Loganskaya with the silver. Bontas with the bronze. And Miller finishes in sixth place. It's a historic event. For the first time, the American national anthem played for a world all-around champion. Congratulations to Kim Zamesko. For Kathy Johnson and Bart Connor, I'm Gary Bender saying so long from the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis.
A couple of updates on the American